Good day, ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed viewers, listeners, and subscribers to Ascent Radio, and welcome to another interesting and exciting edition of Let's Talk with Ascent Litigation. And I remain your host, Barrister David Njoku Ono. Call me your lead radio commentator, call me your lead radio lecturer, call me your radio friend. Then you will not be wrong at all, because here we make Ascent Litigation a classroom of radio where we discuss prominent and topical issues that concerns our Nigerian community and nation, our nationhood and our well-being as a people. And we try to look at what the law says about these different aspects of the happiness within the society, and try to learn from it, because the law is meant for you and I. It is not meant for the lawyers, and that is why we here in Ascent Radio we ensure we preach the language of law, the gospel of law. We speak law in the everyday common man language, so that you will understand the perspective. Where is the law coming from? What's the law talking about? What Mr. A has done to Mr. B, or what Mr. C is doing to Mr. D, or even to the larger society where we live in. And today's topic is one that is very instructive, one that is in the front burner of the Nigeria political and economic environment. We're talking about the Ibadan explosion. Punishment for illegal mining, Ibadan explosion, and punishment for illegal mining. Remember that on the 15th day of January 2024, residents of Ibadan wake up with a very loud explosion within their neighborhood, which left 5 people dead, over 77 persons injured, and 58 homes destroyed. And this calls to mind what is happening within the Nigeria mining sector. Is it that people who mine mineral resources are no longer regulated? Is it that there is a free-for-all? Is it an all-commerce event that people just come into the mining sector and begin to use explosive? Because if preliminary investigation report shows that explosion was caused by explosives which were not properly stored by miners. Whether they are legal or illegal miners, we are not certain for now, but what we know that they were miners and they stored explosive in a non-conducive environment, which caused a heat and some reaction, chemical reaction on those explosives, and led to the explosion that has left 5 persons dead and leaving 5 great families, and have left over 77 persons injured and over 58 homes destroyed. This is not aside cars that were destroyed and other properties of individuals that were equally destroyed. And that is why we have to discuss this very important topic. What are the punishments for illegal mining in Nigeria, and what can be mined? Let's start from there. What can be mined in Nigeria are numerous, because Nigeria is blessed with rich human and natural resources. The natural resource endowment of Nigeria is so enormous that it is inexhaustible. Whether you talk about coal in Enugu, or you talk about lithium in Nasarawa, or you talk about bitumen in Calabar, or you talk about the lead in Jos, or you talk about gold in Zamfara, wherever or you talk about the limestone in the beds of Abakaleke and Boyin State, and even in Ibadan. Wherever you talk about mineral resources, it is abundantly endowed in different areas in the Nigerian society. And is this that these mineral resources are not well catered for? Who are those responsible to ensure that these mineral resources are only exploited and explored for the economic benefit of Nigerians, and they are not extracted in such a way that it causes environmental and human hazard to the Nigerian population? So we are going to go to what are the regulations first of all. Are there regulations that helps to ensure that this sector, that is the mining sector, is regulated in Nigeria? Yes, there are regulations. And the number one and the chief regulation there is the Mining and Mineral Resources Act of 2007. The Mining and Mineral Resources Act of 2007. That is the chief regulation that has to do with mining of mineral resources in Nigeria. Now, who are the chief regulators? We are talking about the chief legislation. Who are the chief regulators? The chief regulator is primarily the Ministry of Mines and Steel. in Nigeria. And then those who drive this regulation within the Ministry of Mines and Steel in Nigeria is the Mineral Cadastral Office of the Ministry of Mines and Steel. The Mineral Cadastral Office of the Ministry of Mines and Steel. Currently, it is being headed by Engineer Obidaya Nkom, who was recently appointed into his second tenure around January 2023. So the question goes around, what are these very regulations? What are the regulators doing with the regulation? And then what are the regulators equally using the legislation to ensure that there is sanity within the mining sector? Because if there was proper regulation and proper inspection, that explosion at Ibadan wouldn't have happened, because it happened as a result of careless and misuse of explosive by miners. Whether these miners are legal or illegal, investigation is yet to prove that, but it is well known that they are foreigners and they have a certificate of incorporation by the Corporate Affairs Commission to engage in mining activities. Whether they were registered with the Ministry of Mines and Steel in Nigeria and also the Mineral Cadastral Office of the Ministry of Mines and Steel is yet to be known, as the ministry is yet to give us that report, since they are having their preliminary investigation as to the explosion. So let's go to the nitty-gritty of it before we come into the punishment for illegal mining. We have first understood what are the minerals, type of the minerals that we have abundant in Nigeria, and then the chief legislation and the chief regulators of the mines and steel industry in Nigeria. So let's go into the other nitty-gritties of it. The first nitty-gritty of it is licensing and leasing of mineral sites to corporate organizations to carry out the business of mining and extraction. Who are those who are responsible for the issuance of licenses and leases? And this is very instructive and important, because we have a situation where every state that has mineral resources in commercial quantity goes, the next thing they have to do is to create a ministry of solid minerals and steel. Talk about Kogi, talk about Kwara, talk about even Ebonyi State, talk about several states in Nigeria. Goes ahead to establish the Ministry of Natural Resources and Steel in their various states. And they further go ahead to issue licenses, all in the name of what they call consent letters. They don't call it license, but they call it consent letters to would-be miners to come and extract minerals within their state. But is this right? Now, under our constitution, the constitution provides that under the exclusive legislative list, that issues on mining, mineral resources, and extraction of them is chiefly and exclusively under the purview of the federal government of Nigeria. Furthermore, Section 1 of the Minerals and Mining Act of Nigeria provides that the Ministry of Mines and Steel shall be chiefly responsible for the mining of all mineral resources in Nigeria, and they shall hold all mineral resources in trust for the Nigerian states. The Act, nor the Constitution, does not state that the state governments under the Ministry of Natural Resources and Steel has the residual powers to manage minerals and mineral resources and natural resources found within their locality or within their states. So, number one, it is wrong for any state government having established a Ministry of Natural Resources and Steel to go ahead to issue any form of license to miners within their states to carry out mining operations. It is not within their powers to do so, rather it is within the powers of the Ministry of Minerals and Steel of the federal government under the office of the Mineral Cadastral Office to issue licenses, which we know as mineral titles, to miners. These mineral titles, the differ. It can be a renaissance permit, it can be a mining lease, it can be a small scale mining lease, it can be a quarry lease, it can be a water use permit. Any of these form covers under the purview of licenses that can be issued to miners who carry out mining activities in every state of the federation. Now, what the state can do at best is to join what we call the State Mineral Resources and Environmental Management Committee. I repeat, the State Mineral Resources and Environmental Management Committee of every state, which is formed by the Ministry of Mines and Steel in each state of the federation. That state where that mineral resource is found can only join that committee, that is the State Mineral Resources and Environmental Management Committee. They can only join them for the purpose of harmonizing and ensuring best practice in the form in mining of that mineral resources found in that state, and not for the state to have a Ministry of Natural Resources checked by a commissioner who will now issue what they call consent letters to miners. Just of recent, about 6 days ago, precisely on the 19th day of January 2024, the governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, to the Commissioner of Natural Resources of Kogi State, issued a warning to traditional rulers and monarchs in Kogi State to stop issuing consent licenses to miners to engage in mining activities within their state. But the governor, who said they should stop issuing the mining license, but who goes ahead to open a ministry or one the Ministry of Natural Resources that goes ahead to issue consent letters to miners, and then the traditional rulers who go ahead to issue these consent letters to miners, they are all wrong, as the law does not give them any powers to do so. Rather, it is resident within the Ministry of Mines and Steel to issue such license by way of a mining license or a small-scale mining license or a quarry license to miners to excavate and exploit any mineral resources within any state of the federation. And the law even goes ahead to say that where a mineral resources is found in commercial quantity in any part of the federation, the federal government has the onus and the exclusive right to acquire such land from the private or communal owners of that land, and then that land will be designated as a government-owned property under the Land Use Act of 1978. Having established this, we have established that the state government and local government or monarchs, traditional rulers of any community where mineral resources is being found, it's wrong for them to issue any form of license to miners to carry out mining activity. And any corporate organization or corporate entity who goes ahead to carry out mining activities under the disguise of having been given or granted a consent letter or consent license by a state government or by a traditional ruler, and is using that consent letter to mine any mineral resources in Nigeria, is an illegal miner and contravenes the extant provisions of the Mining and Mineral Resources Act of 2007. Having established this, we go to now what are the punishments for illegal mining in Nigeria. The punishment for illegal mining in Nigeria is, for first-time offenders, a fine of 20 million naira, and then in terms of imprisonment of 5 years. Now, where that person is not just a first-time offender but a continuing offender, that offender is said to now not only pay the 20 million naira fine and then liable to 5 years imprisonment, but is equally going to pay a fine of 20,000 naira for each day that illegal mining continues. So let's say, for instance, you have a mining consent letter from a Ministry of Natural Resources of a state, or from a local government chairman, or from a traditional ruler of the community where the mineral resources is being found, and you didn't go to the Ministry of Mines, Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel, to the office of the Mineral Cadastre Office of the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel to obtain either your mining license or your mining lease or your small-scale mining lease or your quarry lease from that Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel. And you are operating using the consent letter given to you by the state government or the local government or the traditional ruler. If you have operated for 5 years or 10 years, aside paying the fine of 20 million naira and liable to imprisonment of 5 years imprisonment, you will equally be fined 20,000 for each day you carry out that many operations. If it is 5 years, you will be fined 20,000 for each day times 365 days in a year times that 5 years you have been in operation. That is the position of the law. Now, with the incessant insecurity in some part of the country called Nigeria, and this insecurity related or being connected to financing by illegal miners, be it Zamfara, be it Sokoto, be it Kaduna, be it Plateau, be it Benue, be it Taraba, be it Adamawa. This illegal mining is not just only taking out the financial gains that the federal government ought to and the people of Nigeria ought to get from these miners by way of their lease, paying for their licenses, and then the community development agreement that they go into with the community for ensuring and providing corporate social amenities, basic amenities under their corporate social responsibility agreement with the community. It only not denies Nigeria the benefits, economic benefits of these mineral resources and natural resources found in their localities. It equally fuels insecurity in those communities as the illegal miners, in a bid to stay on in their business and keep their business afloat, fund, whether you call them area boys, or you call them bandits, or you call them terrorists, or you call them agbebos, or you call them thugs. They use these proceeds from illegal mining to fund this set of non-state actors so as to protect their business and ensure that they continue carrying out this business. And that is why insecurity has continued to fester in many parts of Nigeria, because as I said earlier in my introduction, these mineral resources are found virtually in every state of the federation, and that is why every state of the federation has what we call a state mineral resources and environmental management committee, for which the state government is a part of that committee, and whatsoever that has to do with coordination of mining within the state, instead of the state government to open and run a Ministry of Natural Resources independent of the said committee or independent of the Ministry of Mines and Steel, the state government ought to be a member of that state mineral resources and environmental management committee under the auspices and chairmanship of the Minister of Mines and Steel in Nigeria. At this junction, we'll draw the curtain on today's edition of Let's Talk with Asset Litigation, and we believe it has been an interesting and exciting edition where you have been educated as to the chief regulation guiding mining in Nigeria, also the chief regulators guiding the mining sector in Nigeria, and the punishment for illegal mining in Nigeria, and what constitutes illegal mining in Nigeria, because several miners think that they are legal miners having a license issued by a state government or local government or a monarch of the traditional of the community where they carry out their business. But these licenses are ordinary tissue paper. They are ordinary papers with no weight under the law, except you have that license from the Ministry of Mines and Steel under the office of the Mineral Cadastre Office of that ministry. Until we come again your way next week, we want to hear and get feedback from you. So do well to reach us by dropping your comment and suggestions on the comment section of whatever streaming platform you're listening and watching us from. And as usual, we will always give you prompt response. Do well to tune into our YouTube channel and subscribe to that channel by typing Law Accent on your YouTube. Just click on the subscription button and then hit the notification bell, and you will get notification on our daily law tip, including that of today. If you want to read more on today's topic and learn more as to what the Minerals and Mining Act talks about when it comes to mining in Nigeria and what constitutes illegal mining in Nigeria, do well to go to our website info@lawaccent.com and then click on the resource icon. You will see the article on today's topic and you can read further. Until we come again your way next week, I remain your lovely host and your brother and your friend. You can call me your radio commentator, Barrister David Njoko, and hope to see you next week with another interesting and topical topic where we are going to discuss the happenings in Nigeria and we will learn from it. Until we come again your way next week, remain blessed and keep the hope alive for